You're driving along, just another ordinary day, and then it happens. That horrible sound, the sudden jolt. A car accident throws everything into chaos in an instant. It's so disorienting.
The source material for this explainer really nails it with this quote. In that one split second, your entire world just gets turned upside down.
So let me ask you, if that happened to you right now, would you know what to do? It's a tough question, right? But being prepared isn't just about having an emergency kit in your trunk. It's about having a clear mental roadmap. And that's exactly what we're going to build together today.
We're going to walk through 5 key stages. We'll start with those first critical moments right after impact. Then, we'll talk about getting the officials involved and why you need to document absolutely everything. After that, we'll navigate the world of insurance and towing. And finally, we'll tackle some of those common worries that pop up after an accident.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the first critical moments. Before you even think about insurance cards or phone numbers, your number one job is safety. It's all about securing the scene and making sure a bad situation doesn't get any worse.
So, here are your first 4 actions, and the order here is really important. First, if you can, safely move your car out of the flow of traffic. Second, immediately hit those hazard lights. Make yourself visible. It's only after you've made the scene safe that you move on to checking for injuries and then calling for help.
And listen, this next point is absolutely crucial. If anyone seems seriously hurt, do not, under any circumstances, move them. You could make a spinal injury so much worse. The only exception is if there's an immediate danger, like a fire. Otherwise, your only job is to call 911 and wait. Now, if everyone seems okay, then you can safely get out and go check on the people in the other vehicle.
All right, on to Section 2, getting the officials involved. Once the scene is safe, it's time to get the authorities on the way. I know it can be tempting, especially in a minor fender bender, to just exchange information and leave. But trust me, our source material says that's a big mistake.
Calling law enforcement is non-negotiable. A police report isn't just a piece of paper. It is the official, objective record of what happened. It's often legally required, and for your insurance claim, it's the bedrock evidence you'll need to build your case.
And before that officer leaves the scene, make sure you get one critical piece of information, the police report number. You will absolutely need this, plus the officer's name, to get a copy of that official report later on. Don't leave without it.
Okay, so the police are handling the official report, but now it's your turn to play a role. You need to become the primary investigator for your own incident. Basically, you're building a case file to protect yourself. And the source material has this fantastic line, "There's probably no such thing as over-documenting." And it's so true. When it comes to an accident, more information is always better. You are painting a picture for the insurance company of exactly what went down.
So, what does that look like? Well, get your phone out and start taking pictures of everything. Get wide shots of the whole scene from different angles, show where the cars ended up. Then, get close-ups of the damage on all the vehicles, any skid marks on the road, and of course, snap a clear picture of their license plate.
Now sure, there are apps for this, and they're great, but think about it. After a crash, your phone might be smashed, the battery could be dead, or honestly, you might just be too shaken up to navigate an app. That's why having a good old-fashioned pen and paper in your glove compartment is such a brilliant, foolproof backup.
So this chart shows you the bare minimum info you need to get from the other driver. But here's a huge pro tip while you're talking. Just stick to the facts. Don't say things like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because that can actually be seen as you admitting you were at fault. And here's another great tip. When they give you their phone number, call it right there on the spot. It's a simple way to make sure it's a real working number.
All right, you've handled the chaos at the scene. You've gathered your information. Now comes the aftermath, the logistics of dealing with your car and kicking off that whole insurance process.
When it comes to towing, remember this: you have control. Don't just go with the first tow truck that shows up. You have a choice here. If you can, it's always a good idea to call your insurance company and see if they have an approved tow service they work with. And no matter what, always get the tow truck driver's information and the exact address of where they're taking your car.
The insurance claim process can feel like a total maze, but this roadmap really helps simplify it. The most important thing is to notify your insurer as soon as humanly possible. Then you submit all that amazing documentation you collected. From there, you'll cooperate with the adjuster, carefully review their settlement offer, and once you agree, you can get the repairs started. See? Following these steps makes it way less intimidating.
Okay, for our final section, let's talk about the stuff that rattles around in your head after the scene is cleared. These are the common post-accident worries, and we're going to tackle them head-on.
This is a big one. It's a really scary thought, right? What happens if the person who hit you doesn't have insurance? It's frustrating, but your own policy is usually your best line of defense here.
This is exactly where a special part of your own policy called uninsured motorist, or coverage, comes in. It's literally designed to be your safety net in this exact situation. It lets you file a claim with your own company to help cover your medical bills and car repairs.
Ah yes, the million-dollar question. Everybody worries about this. Is my insurance about to skyrocket? The fear is real, but the answer isn't a simple yes or no.
It really depends on a few key things. If you're found to be at fault for the accident, yeah, an increase is pretty likely. But if you're not at fault, the impact is much, much lower. Some states even have laws against raising your rates in that case. And of course, your overall driving history always plays a part.
And if your rate does go up, you need to know, this isn't just a short-term thing. A surcharge for an at-fault accident will typically stick around and affect your premium for 3 to 5 years.
So, we've covered a lot today, from that split-second impact all the way to the long-term financial stuff. It's pretty clear that being prepared is all about having that mental roadmap ready to go before you need it. So, my question to you is, what's one small thing you can do today, right now, to be more prepared? Maybe it's as simple as grabbing a pen and a piece of paper and sticking it in your glove compartment. Because sometimes that tiny step can make all the difference in the world.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.